Hey, welcome everybody. It is September 12th of 2022. We're wrapping into the holiday season. And this is the swing of the year where we have the biggest recruiting season of the 12-month year. Between right now and the holiday season it's time to get after it. People are thinking about what they're going to do for their holiday gifts, their travel, and with the price of gas. And you might think it's going down because it's ticked down a little bit. Let me tell you, it's like a good boxer sets their opponent up for the knockout punch. The prices are going to go back up like crazy, according to every expert in the commodities business after the midterms. And I want to just have a featured speaker here for a few moments. He'll spend just a little bit of time telling you a little bit about himself, but we're really proud of our association with Jason Meisner. He's out of Florida. And Jason is a brand new Ruby on his way to Diamond, and we're proud to have you with us today, Jason. You've got to unmute your line. There you go. Take it away, buddy, for a couple of minutes here.
Sure. Well, it's ironic, and I'm really glad that you were talking about.
I'm still not hearing you, Jason. There's something going on here. I see you lips moving, but no voice.
Oh boy,
Mike,
how about now?
Can you hear him? Okay, it must be on my end, so go ahead.
Yeah, I can hear him.
Perfect. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I was really glad that you started talking about sponsoring, because it's actually what I'm doing. At the beginning of this, we made all our lists. I've got this crazy list. When Mike talks about the guy that spent 7 hours making his list, that was me. It had been so long that since I had done it that I literally just went through my Facebook friends list, and my history has been the last 10, 12 years or so has been network marketing, and that's been about it. So my Facebook group is basically friends, family, and car guys, car girls, and network marketers. So I went through that list. It took me a long time. It was about 7 hours, but that was when we didn't have a website. We didn't have product. We just had some, a theory of what we thought was going to happen. So basically what I'm going back through and doing is going back through that original list, and people that originally maybe told me no or didn't respond. And I'm offering samples again, because now we have them, and trying to go back through and make sure I capture as much of that warm market as I can before we move on to other things. So I'm glad you brought that up. I'm not really stoked to hear what you have to say today.
Well, what do you, Jason, tell us just a little. You're married, your wife is probably not the outgoing one of the family from what it sounded like talking to you.
Correct. Very introverted.
You guys are really excited about what you're doing. What do you really want this to do for you and your family?
I want to retire my wife. That would be fantastic. I'd love to have her join me. She makes a fairly significant income, which allows me time. So I do work directly with Mike Renz, although I am sponsored by his friend Kurt, but Kurt has a day job, so I'm working directly with Mike. And yeah, I'd love to retire my wife. That's my first goal, but I've got a lot of work done.
And you hit Ruby, and it sounds like it may have been a while since you did a networking project.
Yeah. So ironically,
go ahead.
Yeah, ironically, it was with Randy Ray at Jeunesse that I really had worked. I did join Mike in Valentis and Kurt in Valentis, but I, as many other experiences that we had in the past, and mostly it's not been through the company's fault. It's been something else that has happened, but the product changes, and just doesn't become as effective when they redo it, or it just goes away altogether. And that was the experience with several other companies, whether they did the comp plan, didn't work like they explained, or that was sold off to another company, et cetera. So yeah, it has been basically since 2015. Our best month in the past was 5,000. So, not something to sneeze at or anything, but it was a lot of retail. So we did partial building, partial retail, and yeah, so 7 years of really being active. Until this, and when Mike and Kurt brought it to me, I was like Logan from the other night in the Zoom call. I completely agree with where he was at. I didn't need COVID. I was burnt out well before COVID. Wasn't sure I trusted anything anymore until it was Mike and Kurt, and I've known Mike and Kurt for 30 years, Andy and Nancy for the better part of 10, 12 years. If it wouldn't have been them and the product that I had a little history with, I had it offered to me back in 2008, I believe. So I knew it was out there, didn't know what happened to it. And then until Randy Ray actually told me his story in 2015, I didn't think I'd ever need that story again, but he told me what happened with FFI. So I was well aware of it. So when I found out that they were going to rebrand that tab and had acquired it, and Andy and Nancy were me the master distributors, I had to join. I had said in the past that, if I didn't say yes to this, and I sat and watched them build this to where I know it's going to go in 3 years, I would have found a time machine and went back and kicked my own butt because I know where it's going. We have the template.
That's fantastic. Now, listen, a lot of people on there don't have the history with Andrew and Nancy and Michael Renz and
Right.
Michael Do and all that. So what you're saying is really helpful because it helps them to build belief. As we're on this webinar this morning, it's important for you to know the reason that we do these calls Monday through Friday, and we're having some discussion about maybe cutting them back to Saturday only, because we don't want to get people overloaded. So before the call is over, we're going to do a little survey, and I want to give you my email address also. So if you have any thoughts or things you'd like to learn on these, send me an email, because we want to share the teaching with people just like we are today with Jason. And my email is Coach Blaine, Blaine. And I did appreciate Andrew on the call on Saturday talking about the fact that I was an excellent coach for MLM. I was actually, reason I did that is a lot of people, when I say my name over the phone, Blaine, they'll go Wayne, or I haven't had anybody call me Elaine, but you never know. But Coach is so much easier for people to remember. And I was one, so it's an easy deal, but it fits here as well. But it's Coach Blaine, Blaine, @gmail.com. And listen, my attitude is anything we can do to make this better for people, but I really want to get your feedback. Would you prefer we don't have it every day and only on Saturday? And then what we would do is the week the company has an event, we would not have our webinar. We would always, we never schedule anything over the company events. So give us your feedback on that. We'll do a little informal survey at the end of this webinar. But Jason, I've got one other question for you, and this may take a couple of minutes, and don't feel too rushed on it. It's probably as important as anything, but a lot of people come in, they don't go out the gate and do what you did. You went platinum like a lightning bolt. You made a big list of names, and you went out and you went platinum, and then they get in and they struggle. People struggle with networking. It's different. And if you have any advice for anybody, if you're bringing a new person in and training them, what would you say to them?
Well, they definitely need to start with that list. And some of this does not come naturally to people. It certainly didn't come, but you do have to walk people through it. It's like my wife said, we didn't plop out of the womb knowing what to do here. Some people get excited, they see the concept, they see how the binary works, they see how all that works, and yet it's like looking at the elephant trying to figure out how to eat it all in one bite. It's all of a sudden, and they don't know what to do. People really need to get in there and walk them through the steps of making a list, exactly what I did there. Some people aren't going to have that big Facebook list, or they're not going to have networking background, but the average person has like 500-600 people in their cell phone alone, which is a great place to start, because, they have people, obviously on that list, if not all 500-600 of them, and all 500-600 of them know people that drive big truck for a living, or have a landscaping business, whatever. It really, to me, starts with that list. And if I didn't have that list, I certainly wouldn't be here today with that. I focus strictly on the networkers, but you're just looking for people that in general, that could be sizable, whether they're an influencer or in real estate, or they're an insurance person, or and after that, it's just really anybody with a car. You just never know where that list will lead you, but you got to start there.
There you go. Yeah. And even if you have someone with an electric car,
We've got them too, yeah.
Yeah, but they know people with, I mean, it's kind of
Yep.
like Joe wouldn't want it because he's got an electric car. And the reality is that same guy probably has a couple internal combustion motors with gas or diesel. But in addition to that, he's one person or she's one person with the electric car that knows 100 people. And by the way, the people with electric cars have bigger spheres of influence typically. Look at that baby. Look at that baby. Oh my God. Let's see that face. Let's see that baby's. Oh my. We got to quit the webinar and start checking that baby out. And listen, I'll tell you why I'm doing it. I've got grandkids, grown children, grandkids, and I'm doing this to give a better future for them, folks. It's important for us to get really serious about this. Jason, tell everybody what your primary vocation or career has been.
Oh boy, all over the place. I went to school as at the University of Wisconsin, Stout in Menominee, Wisconsin. It's a kind of a fancy name back then. It was industrial technology, but really it's basically the printing industry. During a time when it was 1989 to 1994 that I went. And of course, after that, was the advent of the internet, and the writing was kind of on the wall. When I got out into industry, it wasn't exactly what I was told it was going to be, and I bounced out fairly quick. After that, I was did some retail, did real estate for several years, got back into industry roughly 2005, where I was working overnights. Like I said before in one of the webinars, I was working overnights from 6 p.m. to was about 6 years. And I met Shannon in 2009 and continued to work nights. And when we decided to get married, I was really pushing to get off of nights and really kind of focus on the marriage. And the goal after that has always been to have Shannon home from work. I mean, it was the first goal we ever had was get me off of nights and get her off of, days. And that was always the goal. And now this time around with this company, I can absolutely see that happening. It's just a matter of just making that list, getting started with that first step, and just continuing on.
You haven't mentioned it, but as far as formally, you've mentioned make the list, make the list, make the list, which you can't overspeak that, but you are saying indirectly something that's as critical as that list, and that is have a reason why to build this. I mean, I'm listening to you. You want to get off the nights, you want to bring your wife home from work, you want to start a family, you want to build something. These are pretty significant goals that drive a person. The last thing I'd like you to do as quickly as you can is to those that are on this webinar, listen to this recording that maybe got in, they've not done networking or they've been taught maybe poorly in networking, which is very common. And they're struggling right now. They went out, maybe put 1 in or 2 in, but those people aren't doing anything yet. This is a common thing we hear all the time. What would you say to them to be a word of encouragement, Jason?
Well, I wouldn't look at it as, and I think the common thing is like I said, with the elephant in the room, they look at it and they're thinking they want to go from step 1 to diamond, and they just forget that it takes that first step, For me, I made the warm list at the top, the people that, that were in companies with me before, the people that I would consider close, the people that I would consider that I could work with really well together. I would focus on those people first. Typically, if you can, reach out to people that you're comfortable with first and get started that way, you kind of start building a little momentum because you tend to get more yeses. It's the no's that trip people up. So keep them familiar, keep the faces familiar, people that you would enjoy working with. And when they tell you yes, which is great. I mean, I was getting yeses from people that definitely were burnt out in industry, but I wanted them to have this opportunity because I knew it was going to happen for them. So those new people that are getting started for the first time, focus on the people you enjoy being around and sample them, offer them the opportunity and just take that first step. The first step is critical. When I started building that list, I have to admit to you, it was just a deep breath. I just, it wasn't something I was like 100% sure at the time, but I'm really glad I did it now. So just make your list, keep the good ones high and tight and reach out to them. And when you get yeses from people that you want to be working close with, it means a lot and it gets you through no's.
That's awesome. Jason, thanks for taking a moment out this morning. It's kind of like featuring the Rising Star section. Give Jason a big hand, everybody. That was
Thanks,
really,
everybody.
really fantastic. We appreciate you, brother. It's going to be great to spend time on the beaches of the world with you and your great family. So listen, let's shift. We're going to stay in Florida, but we'll shift up to in fact, not too far. You guys aren't all that far apart, actually. We're going to go over to Mike Dew. And Mike, I want you to take some time and just go where you want to go. But your topic is really talking about different ways of getting leads, the warm market. And I don't call it the cold market. It seems pretty daunting when you say cold market, right? It's like saying, tell your little kid, let's go out in the dark without a flashlight. So what I'd rather say is the next warm market. You know, everybody on the planet is nothing more than an unmet friend. And if you meet someone, say you're at a social event, you meet someone you don't know and they're rude to you, is that someone you want to be around? What do you think? Nod your heads, everybody. If you meet someone at a social event, they're rude to you, like you say, hi, how are you? And they look at you and they say, well, I'm doing okay. What do you want? I mean, what, you know, it's like, why don't you ask them if they've had their meds adjusted lately, right? So you don't want them in your friend circle anyway. So why would you worry about it if you run into a complete stranger and they're abrupt or they're rude to you? People, I talk to people, I say, well, I talked to 8 people and nobody wanted to do it. And I said, well, you found the right 8 people you don't want to be in business with. Now, there is one thing I will say that can affect that. Sometimes people don't want to be around us because we meet them, we say, hi, how are you? They go, yeah, I'm doing fine. Say, hey, have you heard about the latest gas bill? Have you heard about that? And you get all that kind of funky, crazy energy all over them. But when you meet people and you meet them casually, you have a little bit of rapport building conversation and they're pleasant and they're not nice. Why wouldn't you want to let them know at some point about a wonderful opportunity to save gas? I mean, if I found out about tires over at a Michelin and a set of tires for my Navigator were like $85 for the whole set, I'd call everybody I know. Say, you can't believe it. This guy must be going out of his mind. He's giving his tires away. How many of you would do that? Or if the local theater in your town was having movies for 1950 prices, like for 35 cents, you get you and your family into the movies at 35 cents. You go in and have a movie, popcorn, a soda, and it costs you for your whole family like $5. And they were going to do that for 4 days, only 4 days. How many of you call everybody you know and say, hey, you got to go see Top Gun. They're going to show Top Gun at this theater. It's only like 35 cents a ticket. How many of you would do that? You wouldn't say, oh, you know, I called them about 5 years ago. They didn't want to do something, so I can't possibly ever call them back. So warm market is where to work, but the next warm market is off of ads, or you run into someone, and don't limit yourself to one thing. Get 4 or 5 different things happening. I think the number one thing is what Jason said, but Mike, take the call and go where you like with it, my friend.
Sure, Coach. Appreciate that. And I appreciate everything Jason had to say. And I think what I'm going to talk about dovetails into what he talked about a little bit. It's kind of like going to graduate school, I think. I fully, completely agree with what Jason's done and how he's built his business, and find that to be the way to move the fastest. But we all seem to think that we run out of people to talk to, or we don't know who we talk to, or everyone we know wouldn't have an interest in this. And that's not really the case. But when you really have worked through your warm market, you've got a business started the way Jason has and others have, there may come a time when you really do need to find other people to talk to. And that's what I'm going to touch base on a little bit here. Before I get into that, I think that anyone should be at least at the bronze level before they venture out into the next warm market. As you just mentioned, Coach, we all know people, and we've got to get some experience under our belt. You want to have a couple people on your team, people that are experiencing the use of the product. But when you come to that point of branching out, that's what I'm going to talk about. So everyone gets excited and they think, gosh, if I just get leads, I could move fast. But I want to caution you, when you go into the next warm market, as we'll call it, it takes a lot of patience, and it takes a lot of understanding, and it takes a lot of experience, because it doesn't just come naturally. It's not the low-hanging fruit by any stretch of the imagination. when you work with leads, these are people that you don't know. You're going to get all kinds of responses, all kinds of answers. People are going to be rude. People aren't going to call you back. But then if you have the patience and you can work through a system of leads, you can make great connections. And I'm going to mention a couple here. I mean, my business so far has come from warm market and cold market, but one of my personal recruits, Mike Register, who is on the Zoom with us today, came off a Craigslist ad. Mike and I didn't know each other from a hole in the wall 5 years ago. But a few years ago, I placed a Craigslist ad. Mike responded, and now we're best of friends, and we're partners and build accountability partners and about what I'm about to talk about. But I have found in the cold market, your next warm market, that you can generate leads from Craigslist and some other sources. And I'm going to touch base on that. Craigslist is a place where you can target a market. You can target a city where you want to generate leads. You can go anywhere you want. You can go into as many cities as you want. But there are two ways that I found to place an ad for lead generation off of Craigslist. I typically will place an ad under sales jobs, or I used to place ads under gigs. But the difference is sales jobs, you can pick any city you want. We're going to be in Las Vegas next week. I've got an ad running on Craigslist in Las Vegas right now, trying to generate leads. And where was it going with that? Oh, you can target that city, sales jobs. There's a cost to that. And for example, Las Vegas, to place an ad under sales jobs, it's $35. Well, I placed an ad over the weekend for $35, and I've got 8 leads from that ad so far. So, you know, it's less costly to do what Jason's doing, but when you branch out, you have to expect there's going to be a cost. But I do want to add too, just real quickly, regress a bit about people that you can meet. I mentioned Mike Register. I know Jeff Wayne is on this call, and Coach has mentioned Jeff many times, and he's become a good friend of Barb and I and Coach Blaine. Well, Jeff found us off a Craigslist ad. So you can get very quality people like that. You just have to be prepared to sift and sort, and get all the kind of rejection that you can experience. But back to Craigslist, you can also place ads under the topic of gigs, which are much, much cheaper. You can place an ad in any city you want under gigs for $6, I think. The problem with Craigslist is we don't control Craigslist, they control Craigslist. And they often will kick your leads, your ads off of gigs. They don't want MLM type ads under gigs. You can post an ad. Sometimes it'll last a day. Sometimes it'll last a week. Sometimes you can post it month after month, and they don't. But if somebody on Craigslist flags you, they'll kick it off. So you have to be prepared for that. I've never had that happen placing an ad under sales jobs. And like I said, you can target any city that you want. The idea of generating leads is to get them to the point of where you follow Coach's system. You're just trying to get them in the funnel. They get to the funnel, then you start the process of presenting, following up, enrolling, and prospecting. So this is just a step to get you to that point. But I've had great success with it. But I tell you what, it takes a lot of patience. I've had a lot of frustration. Sometimes you move fast, sometimes you don't. But when you really do think you've run out of people to talk to, that's one way. But you got to be prepared to spend dollars. And the biggest thing I think that I've found with people that place ads is they think it's a great idea. They do it, they spend their money, they generate some leads, but they don't call them or they don't follow up with them. And they think that, well, that didn't work for me. This program doesn't work for me. I generated leads and my business is going nowhere. Well, don't kid yourself. If you don't plan to follow up with these people, you're going nowhere and you've spent money for nothing. So I don't want to be overcautious, but I just want you to know that from my own personal experience, I know my own personality, and I have to motivate myself to make those phone calls, those cold market, next warm market phone calls, But when you look on this Zoom and you see Mike Register's face and Jeff Wayne's face and some others, it's worth it. I mean, I've got some good partners in my business that have come this way, but only after you do what Jason's done. I want to add another source that has been brought to me by Mike Register, who I mentioned. It's a company that seems to be providing good quality leads at a very good reasonable cost. And you can take note of this, and we'll post it in the Facebook group. But the company is leadpower.net is the website. And I just ordered 100 leads. I'll get 15 leads per day. And I ordered 100 so that I could try to get through them this week before we leave for Las Vegas next week. But for $34 or $39, I got 100 leads. And these are supposedly real-time leads that come off answering an internet ad through Lead Power. They get the lead, they call the lead to verify the information, and then they send it to you. So the best thing to do is to be as timely as you can in getting back to these people. Speed is everything, because after a day or two, you've lost them. They've forgotten they even saw an ad, and you've spent money to get their contact information, and they don't answer your phone call, they hang up, they don't return your text message. So if you're gonna spend the money for leads, you got to be ready to move forward with them. But this seems to be a very good source. And Mike Register and I have made a pact. We're working as accountability partners. He's ordered leads, I've ordered leads. He's contacting them every day. I'm contacting them. And not only do they provide you the leads, they provide you with instruction. And we find it to be very good. They provide video instruction and written instruction. And this, again, is all to take someone from the point of getting to know them, sifting for interest, and then plug them into what Coach is teaching us. And that is presenting and following up, provide the video, following up, and then try to enroll them. And then you've got a new contact. You've got someone that's no longer cold market. They're on your team. And then you need to instruct them to help them get to bronze before opening the floodgates. I think we do everybody a disservice to build this lead generation as an end all or an answer all. I've been working with these kind of leads for 5 or 6 or 7 years. So I've seen it all. Mike Register didn't call me back for a month, and he came off a Craigslist ad. I called him, left messages. I'd forgotten his name. The phone rang one day and he said, "Hey, Mike, this is Mike Register. I answered your ad. I saw your ad a month ago and now I'm interested." So that's just how it goes. So I'm just trying to paint a realistic picture. Coach, hopefully this has been helpful. I'm open to any questions, but just give some insight into where you can go at the next level.
Very good. Appreciate it, Mike. And we'll open it up tomorrow. Have a few questions, but we're going to run out of time here. And I've got a couple of other things I want to cover. Jason, thank you. And Mike, do. That was really excellent. I want to say something about this lead situation. I'm talking to you as an old dinosaur in this industry. See, I want to parse my words here because I don't want anybody ruffled or upset with me, and I don't want to appear to be obnoxiously focused too much. But I have never seen in my 40 years in this industry, and I've been in the top of the companies I've been a part of. I've been a high bandwidth earner, and we're establishing ourselves here at MPG Extreme as well, along with Michael and Jason and Mike Renz and so forth. I have never seen anybody that tried to build 2 or 3 different MLMs at the same time and be effective. It's a little bit like a baseball player trying to play competitive volleyball the same season, or a football player trying to play basketball during the same season. There's a few athletes that can do it, but it's very rare. And the reason I'm saying that is not to knock anything, but just to tell you that there's a concept of focus and success. If you can imagine success being a human being, success wants to be in a relationship with someone that's loyal to it. And MPG will give you out of its comp plan, its results based upon your fidelity or your commitment to it. And the reason I'm going this direction is not to talk about being in multiple MLMs. You can do that if you like, and I hope you do very well. I myself would not risk my financial future trying that any more than I would risk telling my wife, I think I want to have a couple more girlfriends. I'm probably not going to do that either. I am very, very committed. I do not have multiple MLMs, and I think probably I'm one of those people that maybe could do 2 or 3 of them because I've got such a big database and following, if you might, but I just wouldn't do it. I don't want to risk it, because how many times do you need to become financially free? How many times do you need to become wealthy? That's the number right there. So make a commitment to a vehicle. And if it's not MPG, then make it to whatever. But seems to me that this is a pretty appropriate deal. Now, I'm saying that because when it comes to leads, there's a lot of lead programs out there. Many of them are former network marketers or current network marketers that are creating it, and they create an MLM around their lead base. And so they get you into that lead program, then they start calling you and having you come to their training meetings. And the next thing you know, you're recruited into an MLM that's a lead-based MLM, and you're being tapped off of your existing MLM, which in this case is MPG. Now, I'm just telling you that you got to be real careful to not open your chicken coop up to the wolves out there in this industry. Don't be naive. I'm just telling you something. I've had my downlines where I've built downlines of 20, 30,000 people. That's a big chicken to go raid by a wolf or a coyote. And I've had people that I let in the door being a bit naive, and they came in and they got the data because they got into the lead program. All of a sudden they were selling my data off to other people and other MLMs who are coming back and picking people off. Don't get yourself. Now, that lead program Mike just talked about is not an MLM. It's not an opportunity. They do offer, if you refer someone, they do offer you some free leads, but I would endorse that program. I want to just show you one other thing. How many of you'd like to have a landing page, at least until the company comes out with their landing page? How many of you'd like to have a landing page? I'll tell you what that is for those of you who don't know. It's a page that people can go to. They see some fundamental information. They can fill out a form so you get their data, and then you can follow up. The fortune is in the follow-up. It's not the 3-week follow-up. I appreciate what Mike Dew said about Mike Register. That's very unusual. 10 days later, 10 weeks later, someone calls you. I'm going to just tell you something. You need to create a sense of compression and urgency. Compression in time, which you can do in 2 days instead of 2 weeks, and you do that with 10 people. So let's say it takes you a week to get someone signed in, but you can compress that down to 2 days to get someone in. How much difference is that? That's a 5-day difference, isn't it? So let's say you do that with 20 people. That's a 100-day difference, a third of a year. You just cut off 1/3 of a year. But if you had 10 people on your team, now you've got 5 years of compression. Compression leads to velocity. So you've got to have a sense of urgency moving forward. So a landing page is geared to cause someone to see something in their what they call their itch cycle, their tickle cycle. That's why they call it a tickler file. That where you hit them at the right time in their life that they're looking. Right now, a lot of people are looking for a way to save money on fuel, and a lot of people are looking for a way to make more money in a side hustle. So what you do is you send something to them without talking too much. The biggest challenge with most people, look at me, I talk too much all the time. Biggest problem with most people, quit laughing, Jason and Mike do. I don't like that. That bothers me a lot. Anyway, the biggest challenge for us is you're talking to somebody and curiosity is your best friend. But what you do is you start talking and they give you one little sense that they have an interest, and all of a sudden you turn into this predatory networker. Oh, I got to talk to you about this thing. And you put these posts up, or you send them an email with like 4 paragraphs of detail. They don't need to know any of that stuff. They just need to know that they can save money on fuel. They can make some money having some fun by sharing some videos. So how many of you'd like to have a landing page? I'm going to tell you, I'm not a designer. Justin Dykes is on here. He's one of my guys, and he's a great guy. I'd like to go into a big thing about who he is as an individual. He's an amazing human being, but I laid out the concept to do it exactly what I wanted it to do. So how'd you like to have a landing page that was designed to function the way that a 40-year experienced networker that has made millions of dollars would design it? And you could have that up and available in the next 2 days. I'm going to show you what it looks like. I did ask Mike Dew if he was comfortable with me doing this in front of everybody. And I'm not doing, trust me, I'm not doing this to generate a revenue on these landing pages. It'll be more of a hassle to me than it's worth. And but I am doing it to create a revenue for Justin, who's putting them together. It's not on a replicated platform. I'm sorry to go long here. So in other words, he's got to build each one of them, but we can have them up within 24 to 48 hours if you order it. And I had hoped to have an order form up by now, but I don't think we do. So I'm going to just tell you how you do it. You send me an email. Do not send me a text. Do not send me a phone call. Do not send me a Facebook Messenger. Send me an email, and in the subject line, say landing page. And then all you've got to do is let me know I want a landing page. I'll send you exactly what we need, and we'll have it set up within 24 hours is more than likely. Unless there's an emergency, it'll be 48 hours, but it'll be within 24 hours. We're going to have a whole crew of them up here in this next couple of days. Now, bear with me. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you the landing page, and I'm going to also tell you that, well, I think I'm going to show you my landing page. I don't know if I lost it or what happened here, so bear with me. Okay. If I don't find it like immediately, I'm going to just have you. Okay, here it is. Why is that not showing? Let's see what happens this time. You guys are patient souls, I will say that. Here it is. Here it is. Okay. Well, I'm not seeing it for some reason on my screen, so I don't think I'm going to be able to show it to you. I'm going to give you the address. Write down this address. It'll take you to my landing page.
I can see your screen now, Blaine.
Yeah, you can see the screen, but you can see the, let's see what happens here. Thank you. Whoever said that, I think that might have been Jason. Thank you. Let's try this. There it is. Can you see that? How many of you can see Stop the Madness?
Yes, we can see it.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, every one of you, if you decide to get this, there's going to be somewhere south of a $40 setup fee. And I'm wrestling with that. It won't be over 40. It might be closer to 30. I'm not going to make a commitment to you on this call. But so I just say plan on 40 bucks, because I'm going to use this to also fund some of the other things we're doing to build some tools for all of us. And then what's going to happen is our staff will set you up on a Wix account. And with that Wix account, they'll have a month-by-month fee. And I don't know if Justin is on here, but well, that's around $20 a month. You can drop it any month you want. So it's month by month. So if the company comes up with their landing page and we feel that it's superior, then what we'll do is we'll direct everybody to get theirs set up. So we'll see how that looks. But what you're looking at is the landing page. There'll be 3 or 4 different options on color scheme. We're putting a couple together that the background is like a marbleized color, dark green, dark blue marbleized. So there'll be 3 or 4 options. I use this one as plain vanilla. I like it plain vanilla because it focuses on the message. But when they get to the landing page, the way I would use this is I would run an ad and I would include the link to this ad. The name of this one is /fuelcost.com, /fuelcost.com. And we'll get you a domain name, or you can go online and do a domain search and pick out the domain you want, because every one of these will have their own unique domain name. It'll be your domain, okay? When someone comes to this and they look at it, and I'll go down the screen a little bit so you can see the whole page, right? You see it? All right. Then if they click on this link, click to watch the videos, what happens is it goes to this page. Fill out the form below to unlock the videos. These short videos will show you how to save big money on fuel and make fast cash. Now, if they're looking, they're going to fill this out. And when they fill this out, they click this link, and there they are. The 4-minute video, which you're familiar with. How many of you like the fact we took the front end of that 4-minute video off with all that, those $700,000 cars and multi-million-dollar jets and all that? How many of you like that we changed that? Hey, Mike, whose idea was that? Mike,
That was your idea.
Yeah.
For sure.
Listen, they're trying to pay their light bill and feed their family. They don't want to have that stuff shoved down their throat. All I'm saying is that the things we're putting together, they will work if you'll work them. Once they watch the videos, they're done. Now, here's the deal. We branded to the dream team. So other people in the company are not going to have this. You're going to have it. And when they fill that form out, it comes to your email. That lead does not go to me. It doesn't go to anybody. It goes to you. And then it's up to you to get with your upline leader who can actually put a great sentence together and communicate with someone with influence and present them and close them. My suggestion is when you use this, we'll talk about it tomorrow, is that you get them to watch this. If you get the lead, don't call them, text them, ask them would they like to learn more. If the answer is affirmative, set up a 15 to 20-minute window and get them on a 3-way call with a leader. You'll close about 90% of those. And that doesn't matter whether it's off of an ad on Craigslist or if it's off of a Facebook post. Now, would I put this on my Facebook? I would probably on Facebook put something together that says, I'm working on a project to help people save money, and I thought you might have an interest. And if you'd like something, PM me. I would not put my link on there. I would just let them contact me and ask me for the information. I'm an anti-spam kind of guy. So anyway, if you want one of these, you can have it set up in the next couple of days. Send me an email to coachblaine@gmail.com. coachblaine@gmail.com. Chuck Thomas asked me, can we set 100 of these up? Yes, we can set 100. We could set 1,000 of them up. And the quicker we have these up and the quicker you're putting these out to 2, 3, 4, 5 people a day, you're going to watch momentum start kicking in. So Mike, you've used landing pages forever. Can you give people a feel how you feel about this particular one that we put together?
I think it's great. It really is. It leads them through 2 steps. And if they have done that, you've got someone that's interested in what you're offering. The key again is speed. If you spend the money to do this, generate an ad, and you have leads coming in, you don't want to wait. You need to get in touch with them, but it absolutely will work.
If you don't put the website out there, it won't work. If it's just on your computer, you're looking at it, it's very unlikely you're going to have anybody get in because of it. So it's not a work of art to have on your living room wall is my point. And if you get it out there and you get a lead, get together with your upline. Don't sit down and wonder what to do. Get together with your upline And if you need to call me, get together with them and follow up. But please, if you're working with me, do not call me and ask me to talk to people that you've already spent 10, 15, 20 minutes with. Personally, I'm not interested in talking to a prospect that has already been formed in their thinking based upon what someone else has talked to them. If they've seen those 2 videos and you say, would you like to learn more? And you set that call up. If you're working with me, I do not need you to get them ready to talk to me. You give me that contact. Some people like someone teed up more than that. You give me that contact that I just shared. I'll close 90% of those people for you if they'll get on a phone call after seeing this video. So we're going to end this webinar. It's gone a bit long. I hope it's been helpful. Jason, thank you. Mike, thank you. We'll see all of you tomorrow. Hopefully you'll promote this. Hopefully you find this helpful information. And I thought, Mike, you were fantastic. Thanks, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget the call tonight, 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern time on the company line. If you're not sure that phone number, go on the website. It's right there on the website. Goodbye, everybody.